Hello everybody, this is HG Tudor, and thank Tudor, it's Friday. Yes, the end of another week, and before you engage in a weekend of bacchanalian overexcitement and hedonistic devil-may-care behaviour, or perhaps that's just me, let's have a little dip into the world of YouTube and your questions, so I can answer them for you and give you some insight and analysis to assist you with those burning questions so that you can enjoy your weekend a little easier. So Mr. GG states, I would like to see you do another YouTube live Q&A session. Great information. Thank you, Mr. GG. Hopefully I will be doing more of those in due course. It has been some time since I've done one, so look out for that in due course. Soul in Balance asks, how do you treat other narcissists? Well, invariably with contempt. Soul in Balance goes on to ask me, do you manipulate them because you know how they work? Do you play with their emotions or fuel matrix? Well, yes, I do manipulate them. Certain narcissists are useful to have as lieutenants. For example, a lesser can be used as an attack dog. Mid-ranger, often quite sycophantic, can be useful as something of an errand boy. So there are narcissists within my fuel matrix, and yes, I do manipulate them. Bryn Estelle comments, how very generous of you, thank always for your work. Indeed, it is generous of me. I give a lot of my time and insight and expertise, but that's because I'm such a delightful person, as you all know. Tribe of Shabazz comments, hey, I need a narc detector consultation. I'm willing to pay. Great news, Tribe of Shabazz. I can do that for you, and I'm willing to take your money. It's a win-win. Look forward to helping you out. Flavia Oliveira. HG, I have to say the questions chosen are a little repetitive. Knowing your work, one already knows the answers to most of the questions you picked. Well, first of all, big gold star for you, Flavia, for knowing all of the answers. I tell you what, pop round, we'll have a latte together, and you can do the recording for me while I go and beat up some minions in the Tudor Towers dungeon. How about it? Sound like a date? In all seriousness, although the questions may sound a little repetitive to you because you've obviously digested my work, and well done for doing so, of course, people wouldn't ask the questions if they didn't want the answers, and what's obvious to you is not always obvious to somebody else. There's also the point as well that sometimes the same questions keep cropping up because those are the important questions that people have, and that's why they need to be addressed. Hopefully, there'll be something that you listen to in this, thank Tudor It's Friday, whereby it isn't repetitive. Maylin Ho asks, how can I post a private question? Well, if you have a private question, I'd invite you to contact me at narcissist1909@gmail.com, and the most appropriate way really is to book a consultation with me, which is either an email one or an audio one would probably be most appropriate. If you want to know if you're ensnared with a narcissist, book a narc detector consultation. All of those details are in the menu bar at narcsite.com. That's NARSITE.com. Suzanne C. I love listening to you, HG, because even though we've graduated and pretty much know all there is to know, careful, that's emotional thinking. You'll know a lot. There's plenty more I've yet to tell you, believe me. But you comment it's such a treat because you're still so darn entertaining. Thank you very much. Gilda Taylor. Am I the only one who thinks this is really Sam Vaknin? Come on. Do you think I sound like Sam Vaknin? If you do, get yourself down to Boots the Chemist and book yourself in for a hearing test. I'm not Sam Vaknin. I don't sound anything like him. So, come on. Play the game there, Gilda. Tutor states, Mid-Ranger knows they are a narc. I can assure you, Mr. Greater. Well, Tutor, I can assure you that you are wrong. Mid-range narcissists do not know what they are. They can't know what they are. Otherwise, their self-defense mechanism will not work. Sweet Sting asks, why would your kind bring your new fiancé in front of an old fling, etc.? Not once, but twice. Very simple. It's called triangulation. So, if, let's say, there is an event that the narcissist might not have known that you're going to be there, let's assuming you're the old fling. And in such circumstances, the narcissist has just turned up with the new intimate partner primary source at the event because that's their partner and they will be showing them off. And so there may not be any regard at all for the old fling. Indeed, the old fling may well have been deleted in the mind of the narcissist, and therefore it's just coincidental that the old fling is there when the narcissist brings along the new love of their life. Sometimes it might be done deliberately. If the narcissist knows that the old fling is going to be there, they see this as an opportunity to hoover in directly, at least to begin with. For instance, parading the new person up and down without actually engaging directly with the old fling enables an indirect hoover to take place. So there's been a hoover trigger and the hoover execution criteria is met, and it's a form of triangulation. It might go further in that the narcissist might introduce the new person to the old person, and that's a direct physical hoover. So it is all governed by the need for fuel, and sometimes it is pure coincidence. You happen to be there when the narcissist is there. And thereafter, there may be a direct physical hoover if the narcissist comes over to speak to you, bringing the new person with them. That's because your presence at the event is a hoover trigger, and the hoover execution criteria have been met, so the narcissist comes over, hoovers you in person, utilising the new person for the purposes of triangulation to gain fuel. On other occasions, the very fact that the narcissist happens to know that you're going to the event before attending, that is a hoover trigger. The hoover execution criteria are met. The narcissist goes, but perhaps doesn't come over, but circulates, showing off the new person, knowing that you're going to see this. That's an indirect physical hoover, and they may just do that of itself, or alongside that, they may begin circulating, let you see this person, and then move in for a direct physical hoover. So that's what's occurring there. David Adkins states, "Thanks again for all this information." You're very welcome, David. It makes me curious, though. You're actually very helpful. Yes, of course, many narcissists are. How do you think Apple was created, for instance? Pretty helpful. Many of you are probably listening to this on an iPhone, aren't you? Mr. Jobs was one of our kind. He was extremely helpful. Being a narcissist, you gain fuel from this, or since you're a greater, do you not have to rely on fuel like a lesser or mid-range does? Let's break this down. I'm a narcissist, so I have to rely on fuel. We all do. Is my reliance similar to that of a lesser or mid-range? No. My needs are different from theirs. My fuel matrix is different from theirs. The ability that I have to gain fuel is different from theirs. Do I gain fuel from this? Yes, I do. Please understand, however, I don't do this for the purposes of gaining fuel. Here's why. First of all, my fuel needs are met in my private life. So I actually have no need to gain fuel through this. However, one is never going to turn it down. The second reason I don't do this for fuel is everybody who comments here is doing so as a tertiary source. I don't know any of you and you don't know me. That means the potency of your fuel is the lowest of all of the sources. Furthermore, your comments are in writing, and that is the smallest amount of fuel that can be provided. Why is that? It's because I don't see your face. I don't see the emotion in your expression, in your eyes, your body language. I don't hear the tone of what you say. All I see are the words, and I understand the tone associated with it. And therefore I receive positive fuel when someone might write, "I love your sexy voice, HG." I receive negative fuel if someone says, "HG, you're a complete bastard and should be taken out the back and shot." Either way, I get a little dollop of fuel from a weak source in terms of potency. Frequency, well, I get lots of these little dots of fuel for as long as I read the comments. But it's not going to sustain me through the course of the day. And therefore, me engaging in doing this for the purposes of fuel is not efficient nor effective for me. I do this for other reasons which I've explained, which are I like to share the knowledge. It accords with my sense of omnipotence, the fact that my work is listened to and read all around the world. Indeed, my work has been read in every country apart from 6 of them. And I'll be having words with the heads of state of those countries very shortly, which includes the cheese eater in North Korea as well. I'll have to break down the internet, I think, to get in there, but eminently achievable. So, I also do it because I get irritated by the inaccuracies in terms of the information that is put out about our kind, and also the myths that are propounded. There's a lot of nonsense out there. There's many people who try, through well-intentioned videos and articles, to explain how we think and behave, but much of it is inaccurate, and some of it's downright dangerous. But that's a rant for another occasions. So there you are, David Adkins. I hope that provides you with the information that you need. I'm sure that it does. Sally Shiner states, if you're fighting with a narcissist and want them to start behaving and beg for you, so you say you're over it and not going to talk to them anymore, and then they just ignore you and don't beg or attempt to get you to stay, what does that mean? Well, first of all, don't fight with the narcissist. When you realise you're dealing with a narcissist, you obey the first golden rule of freedom, which is get out and stay out. So, if you want them to start behaving and beg for you, you are giving into emotional thinking, because what you should be doing is kicking them into touch. So when you say you're over it, not going to talk to them anymore, and they just ignore you and don't beg or attempt to get you to stay, well, what's happening there is, when you said, I'm over this and I'm not going to talk to you anymore, you've probably done this when you're angry or upset, or frustrated or irritated, and guess what you've done? You've given challenge fuel. So the narcissist has got what he wants. And his response of ignoring you is him asserting his superiority through a silent treatment. He's saying to you, you've rebelled against me, I'm putting this rebellion down, and I'm putting this rebellion down right now, I'm not talking to you. Remember, a lesser or mid-range narcissist doesn't know this is happening, it's an instinctive response. Why don't they beg to get you to stay? Either they don't need you, and therefore they're well served in other elements of the fuel matrix, so it might be you're a non-intimate secondary source, or an intimate partner secondary source of a shelf variety, and they've got others that they can rely on. Or they feel confident enough, again instinctively, that you're not actually going anywhere, and your comments about saying, I'm over it, and I'm not going to talk to you anymore, are actually bluffs. And they feel that you remain under control, and that you will come crawling back, because you're being given the silent treatment. And that is what is happening in that instance. Less Confused Now states, good morning. Good morning to you, Less Confused Now. I hope you've had and are having a super day. Andrea Vander asks, what is the best way for an empath mother to deal with a narcissist adult son when she knows that she should go no contact since he keeps hurting her over and over with rude comments? Well done for recognising that you should go no contact. And he also hurts her with a disrespectful and non-caring attitude and generally emotionally abusive tactics. He's a lower narcissist, I think you mean lesser, with no stable income and addictions rather to various substances. Mom is torn. Indeed, that's emotional thinking, because he is her son and therefore doesn't want to totally lose contact with him. This is a frequent scenario that one comes across. Works in both directions. Adult children of narcissists who know they should go no contact, but their emotional thinking taps into that emotional state, their empathic trait of guilt, and says, this person's your mum or your dad. And of course the other way around, this child is your son or daughter. I can't go no contact. New news, yes you can. Just because that person has the label of son, daughter, mother, father, uncle, brother, whatever, that does not entitle them to any continued relationship with you. If a friend was abusive to you in this way, gave you rude comments, disrespectful and non-caring attitude, would you stay friends with them? No, you would not. Same applies. Just because this person is a family member, when you are an adult, you do not have to engage with them any further. You impose no contact. Totally. Yes, you may come under pressure from other members of the family. Yes, you will feel guilt because your emotional thinking will seize on that trait, saying, but it's your mum, it's your son, you shouldn't do this. You have to do what's right for you. They are not the son, daughter, mother, father because of that behaviour. They are a disordered individual. They are going to make your life unpleasant, downright miserable. And therefore, you obey the first golden rule of freedom. Once you know, you go. If you want to understand more about this and how you can impose that and overcome that particular empathic trait of guilt, do book an audio consultation with me, and I'll be perfectly content to assist you in that regard. Natalia C. states, is the greater narcissist same as the covert one? No, I don't use the term covert, it's too narrow. A greater narcissist has covert behaviours, but is not described as covert. Somebody who goes by the name of IICEI. ICI? IKEA? Who knows? Who cares? ICI writes, I find it counterproductive to take anything this obviously mentally ill Boris Karloff wannabe seriously for the simple fact that taking any advice from a person professing to have a mental illness who discusses a mental illness in detail cannot be considered credible. I find somebody who doesn't find any ability to use the comma very disturbing indeed. Well, all we do in giving him an audience is give him the twisted idea of these mentally ill subhumans needing fuel, which in itself is so abnormal. The mere idea behind it screams wacko. So I'm wacko. Well, ICI, you're entitled to your opinion, but guess what? It's wrong. First of all, you can describe me as mentally ill if you wish, fair enough, just because my perspective on the world doesn't accord with yours, thank goodness. Then, if that's how you'd see me as being mentally ill, so be it. However, I think if you have a look at the evidence, and let's do that rather than just bandying around ad hominem attacks, have a look at the evidence, have a look on my blog, look at the testimonials, look at the responses in the comments, look in the comments here on YouTube. Actually listen to the material. See how many times people say, oh my goodness, this is exactly what happened to me. Oh my goodness, HG, thank you for unravelling it, explaining it. I receive emails, ICI, from people saying, were it not from you, I would have killed myself. Were it not for you, I would have given up long time ago. I wish I'd had your information 6 years ago, HG. I know what I'm talking about, ICI. If you think I'm mentally ill, that's your opinion and you're entitled to it. If you think I'm a Boris Karloff wannabe, I find that quite entertaining. It doesn't concern me in the slightest. However, try and look behind your obvious abhorrence of who I am as an individual. I understand that. I'm a narcissistic psychopath. You don't like the idea. Maybe you're a little bit jealous that I'm getting this attention and you're not. Who knows? But use the material for your use. Read it. See how it impacts. Look at what everybody else states and how they notice how useful it is and how helpful it's been. I'm trying to help you as well. And at the end of the day, nobody's making you listen. But we all know secretly you love to listen, don't you? So, mwah, big kisses to you, ICI. See you soon, you rascal. Chris Smith asks about my mother and whether I try to inform her or make her aware. In answer to somebody else, I explained that my mother is an upper mid-range elite narcissist, and as a consequence, she does not know what she is. No, I am never trying to inform her or make her aware as to what she is. Why? There is no point. Her narcissism will not allow her to do so, and if I did, I would invariably be giving her fuel, and I don't want to do that. So, I am not going to enter into those behaviours. So, there we are, some answers to various questions. Keep them coming in the comments section, and I will endeavour to address as many of your questions as I possibly can, and provide you with my observations to your observations as well. Thank you very much for your contributions. They're always welcome. And as ever, if you need any detailed input on your own circumstances, do go to narcsite.com where you can book a consultation with me. Have a look at the consultation testimonials there as well. If you're a little bit hesitant about speaking to me or receiving my input, I don't bite. Now, alternatively, there are plenty of books that you can read that I've written, which you will find absolutely insightful, hugely informative, extremely helpful, and in places entertaining as well. So, I wish you a pleasant weekend and look forward to answering more of your questions in due course. This is H.G. Tudor, and thank Tudor, it's Friday.